Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's Wednesday, July 16th, 2025, 10 a.m. Central Time, and it's called We Grow Wednesday because everybody is a farmer. Everybody is a potential grower of their own food. If you gotta, you gotta, right? And today we got our friend Johnny with us. We're going to play a little intro first to get this party started. If you could help us out, hit that like button, send out those notifications all over the digital realm, and we'll be right back in about 420. Let's grow.
When the indoor farmer has a tale to tell, under the glow of LED lights where his stories dwell. He's not just growing greens, he's sowing seeds of thought. In a studio with a microphone where wisdom's bought. We grow Wednesday from 8 to 9. Tune in, folks, for a communal time. With Waylon, we'll learn to grow in life, in love, and in what we sow. He's a man of the soil and a man of the word, a veteran with a vision, his voice undeterred. From cannabis tales to the latest farm tech, his shows where the nerds and the farmers intersect. He lights up the airwaves with truth and care, sharing joys, the highs, and yes, the wear and tear. On We Grow Wednesday, we're all one big team. Growing together is the ultimate dream. We Grow Wednesday from 8 to 9. Tune in, folks, for a communal time. We'll live and we'll learn to grow in life, in love, and in what we sow. He's a man of the soil and a man of the word, a veteran with a vision, his voice undeterred. From cannabis tales to the latest farm tech, his shows where the nerds and the farmers intersect. He lights up the airwaves with truth and care, sharing joys, the highs, and yes, the wear and tear. On We Grow Wednesday, we're all one big team. Growing together is the ultimate dream. We Grow Wednesday from 8 to 9. Join Waylon for our journey so fine. Learning, laughing, and sometimes sad, but always together from the good to the bad. He speaks of the benefits, the pros and the cons of the plant that has helped him feel less withdrawn. With guests from all walks, stories to share, Waylon makes sure that no one feels like they're there alone. So come every Wednesday, find your place in his light, where Waylon, the indoor farmer, invites you to grow not just plants, but your soul, your mind, in a world where together we're truly aligned. Tune in, grow with us, let's expand our view on We Grow Wednesday with Waylon. It's true.
Waylon, the indoor farmer, has a tale to tell. Under the glow of LED lights where his stories dwell. He's not just growing greens, he's sowing seeds of thought. In a studio with a microphone where wisdom's taught. We Grow Wednesday from 8 to 9. Tune in, folks, for a communal time with Waylon. We'll learn to grow in life, in love, and in what we sow. He's a man of the soil and a man of the word, a veteran with a vision, his voice undeterred. From cannabis tales to the latest farm tech, his shows where the nerds and the farmers intersect. He lights up the airwaves with truth and care, sharing joys, the highs, and yes, the wear and tear. On We Grow Wednesday, we're all one big team. Growing together is the ultimate dream. We Grow Wednesday from 8 to 9. Tune in, folks, for a communal time with Waylon. We'll learn to grow in life, in love, and in what we sow. He's a man of the soil and a man of the word, a veteran with a vision, his voice undeterred. From cannabis tales to the latest farm tech, his shows where the nerds and the farmers intersect. He lights up the airwaves with truth and care, sharing joys, the highs, and yes, the wear and tear. We grow Wednesday on one big team, growing together.
When the indoor farmer
All right, we're back, everybody, and of course, we've got our friend Johnny with us, co-hosting today on We Grow Wednesday. It's kind of a midweek meetup where we hang out and we kind of just kind of pull our heads up out of our holes in the sand and look around and say, what the heck is going on in the world with our food supply, with our health and wellness, and general well-being. I mean, I feel like everything works off of our food supply. There's literally nothing in the world that doesn't connect to the fact that we got to eat food, right? It's Johnny. How are you, brother? It's been about a week since I talked to you. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm well. Good morning. Good to see you. Yeah, it's crazy world we're living in. Yeah, I love the idea though. The answers to our biggest problems are cultivating the tastiest meals we can locally. So yeah, I appreciate you sharing that message.
Doesn't that just build off of like that just makes so many things happen if you connect with your local environment in a way that and that doesn't mean that walking out through your woods, but although that's not a bad idea, but connecting to local farmers and other people who grow, it actually sort of through osmosis helps you kind of understand what kind of grow area you're in. I mean, just me walking the dog, sometimes I'll talk to a neighbor that's got a garden outside and oh, I didn't know you could grow that. Oh, okay. Like what time of the season that you're walking by. Oh, I didn't know those are, so you just kind of learn by connecting with your local community. I think community is everything, and farming is like there's not much more of a close knit community than a farm community, honestly. Um, and I lived in one farm community locally. Didn't talk to a lot of farmers. I was pretty young then, but I didn't appreciate it then because all I worried about, Johnny, it's 30 minutes to the nearest gas station. That was what I was more annoyed about then, more worried about. And now I kind of would rather be 30 minutes from the nearest gas station. It's funny how things change. Um, Guys, if you could hit that like button and share it out, we're gonna prize a little bit later, of course. We're also going to do a number spin for my subscribers. So make sure you get yourself a number. All right. Hey, Twisted, what's up, man? Come on in, guys. All right, Johnny. While we chat, I'm going to pull up a few websites
All
that
right. I got something about what you're saying there. You're talking about just walking around and checking out what your neighbors are doing. It reminds me of the one of the principles of permaculture, and that's, observation, just to be present, check out what's working. What is nature doing? You know,
what's hiding
Uh,
in plain sight. Sometimes we don't even see it. Right? Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm a big fan of getting all our favorite plants and animals growing well. I love the idea. There's people doing really kind of, low tech, low investment systems growing tropical things like citrus, cacao up in the snow in Nebraska, up
Oh,
in the Dakotas. Yeah, there's ways you can do this stuff, but what works naturally. That's a good place. Don't forget that.
start
Oh
there.
wow.
Yeah.
Maybe you're in a place that grows smaller tomatoes a little better. Lean into that. Don't forget about that, and yeah, you can challenge yourself as well. But yeah, what is nature doing? It's like we're playing our part, helping balance the elements. What's already, what are the strengths there, and not just what's working, but like how's it working? Like why is that tomato plant so happy? Is it because it's getting full sun? Something special about the soil? Maybe it's planted next to some herbs, some onions, keeping some pests away. So yeah, it's just I love this idea that you know it's like this puzzle, and we're just clever enough to be able to figure it all out, and you know it's uh it's in our blood. It's who we are, so it's something easy for us. So what do you got here now? Farm week now.
Yeah, this is one of the sites that I go to usually, and I'm always open to hear about some new sites that have general information that we kind of need. Farm Week Now is an Illinois-based site, but they always have some international news on farming, and I always like to bring this up because it's hilarious how they bury some of the most important information for us into things like this boring. chart about corn, wheat, and soybeans. Like you go into farming, not just this website, but all sorts of newspapers and other farming websites, where the biggest thing that they're looking at is corn, wheat, and soybeans. So I always look at the headlines on this site to see what else we can find. Like how can we look through some of the what seems like boring information to find out what's really important. Like here's a story: fertilizer prices on the move, tough decisions loom. And so personally, I always thought that fish emulsions could definitely help our country be a little bit less dependent on foreign fertilizers. I believe it. I want to say Russia is a big exporter of fertilizer. I know they export a lot of wheat. I can't remember. There is a shortage of fertilizer right now in the world, but I feel like there are ways we could make up for it without having to just have more cattle. Obviously, cattle is one of the biggest things. Yeah, that's an interesting story. We might have to check that out. What was the main headline here? Family-run market brings fresh food back to Benson. Okay, so I like it. It says a feel-good story. I don't think we need to read it really, but a family-run market. That's I don't know how far Benson is from me, but it might be somewhere I should go do a little review for or something. Looks like a cool place. I'm not going to read that story, but this fertilizer story kind of has me worried. See, cooperative weather needs are needed as crop reach key growth stages. Cooperative weather needed. See, this right here is why you have a show called The Indoor Farmer. This is literally one of the biggest reasons why I said we need to look into growing indoors a little bit more. I 100% do not believe we should grow everything indoors. I just think there are plenty of places in the world that could hugely benefit from growing more things in greenhouses and in different ways of growing indoors, or more controlled environments. But this is the biggest thing. It's like we got to hope and pray that the weather is cooperative outside, and that's a problem to me. I mean, now we do have this. We're going to get into some stories here today about the flooding, and there's some conspiracy thoughts about cloud seeding, and maybe this is like there's like a man-made thing happening right now, and we do have examples of this. And I don't want to get too far into it because I think that's what we're going to talk about on People in the Boxes tomorrow. Cloud seeding. Everybody's seen those streaky clouds. I mean, we're going to kind of just get into the weeds on it, but it does connect to the flooding happening right now. And do we think that humans have any kind of control over the weather? I think we can maybe make things happen. I think we can like nudge things to happen. We can maybe pump up clouds and maybe make it rain. But that doesn't mean we're controlling shit, right, Johnny? Like I don't. I mean, just because we might be able to like affect it, I think, in my opinion, I think we are definitely able to affect weather in ways. That doesn't mean we can control it, quote unquote. Like not in any kind of real sense. You can't just shut it off immediately. Although maybe with lasers, I don't know. I'm not trying to get too into the weeds there, but it is kind of crazy how on one hand we are still beholden to the weather. You got droughts, you got floods, you got insect issues, and then on the other hand we think people are controlling the weather. So I don't know. Maybe we are, and maybe they're doing it on purpose to hurt crops in some places. I don't know. Anyway, we don't have to get.
You know what I've seen on that, Waylon, is that we're finding so much aluminum coming down in our rain, and
Ooh,
this is unnatural. Aluminum is actually the third most common element in the Earth's crust,
I
but
didn't know
the
that.
kind of aluminum that we're finding coming down in the rain is a one you never find in nature naturally. It's a free form, and it's a really powerful neurotoxin. So, and this is hard on farmers, right? So this is changing the way the soil's working, changing the pH, changing the humidity, and what farmers are saying is, yeah, it's getting harder and harder, and they're saying that the GMO crops are more resistant to it. Now, uh, think about this. There's a financial interest now in industry going ahead and poisoning us and sabotaging our natural crops and then pushing theirs.
Yeah,
Wouldn't they just love a world where you can't grow anything except their crops, and then they got us at their mercy, all right?
I think that's such an obvious mistake that's gonna make sense over time because there was a movie not too long ago. It's kind of a time travel movie where had to do with our future, like far into the future, where we don't have we have very few plants left, and all this different genomes and all these different plants and animals have died out and we can't bring them back. And the whole thing was about a time traveling back to try and get a bunch of DNA from the past in order to start it back up or whatever. And while it's far fetched, while it's science fiction, I think there is a future where we over sterilize and over GMO, too many things, and then we end up not being able to go back. And that's what I worry about. These seed vaults, they sound nice, but seeds don't live forever. I know you can kind of keep them. You can keep them like dormant. There are ways. I don't know the science behind it. I know there are ways like it's got to be really cold and stuff to really keep them for a long time. But I don't think that's forever. Still, I'm just guessing. But do you know about how we preserve seeds? Is it just cold? Is it just put them in the cold and no air, like no, uh, like a sealed container or whatever?
A lot of people keep seeds in the fridge or the freezer. I think it's going to depend on the seed, which one's best. Yeah, a lot of times I think you want to watch out for humidity. But yeah,
Mm.
it's wild to think of them saying that we found seeds from the pyramids in Egypt and that they're still fertile and that
Oh,
we planted them. Yeah, isn't that
I haven't
crazy?
heard this. I haven't heard this. That sounds like a newer story. Um, okay, let me read the rest of these headlines. There's actually some pretty good headlines this week. Typically, there's some more boring ones that don't seem like that make sense to read. But this one, farmland market holding steady. So I'm not going to read it, but sounds like the markets are holding steady. Well, I thought the tariffs were just going to destroy everybody. Well, I guess the markets are not reflecting that yet. USDA plans to bolster meat poultry safety. This one sounds worrisome. They're going to bolster meat poultry safety. What does that mean? I have to read that one. It says enhanced listeria testing, revamping approach to address salmonella, part of USDA plan. Okay, I mean that sounds like a positive story. We might check that out. Ag meteorologist, corn belt in pretty good shape. See, this is what bothers me. Like corn belt. Like who gives a? I really hate corn. Corn can be delicious and tasty, but I just don't think that we need to. It's not the most nutritious thing. It's just calories. Oh. Can you still hear me?
Hello, hello. Yeah, did you lose me there for a sec?
No, I got Mr. Piggy Butt over here laying on my keyboard,
Yeah, we
laying
hear
his
you good.
laying his butt on the keyboard. I think
Yeah,
there's only one more here. The corn belt garbage I don't want to read about, and then hemp farmer expanding sustainable agriculture. There's some more. Corn enters dough stage. Soybeans setting pods. Corn and soybeans. Corn and soybeans. Corn. That's all I see most of the time when I go here. New CDL medical rules take effect. Interesting. So the drivers, they're gonna, AI and self-driving vehicles will just end up taking out the driving industry eventually, which is unfortunate. Photosynthesis research nets U of I Trailblazer World Food Prize. Photosynthesis research, that sounds mildly interesting. AU of I researcher who advanced knowledge on photosynthesis receives worldwide recognition. Hmm. So you mean we didn't know everything about photosynthesis? See, this is from the 15th. Sign up for free livestock truck rollover training. Interesting. That's probably really beneficial for all the drivers who haul livestock. I can't imagine, man. Like I've hauled liquid. Liquid is hard. Liquid's harder than solids to haul, obviously. And but when you have a bunch of hundreds of pounds animals all like walking around, that's got to be a kind of scary as a driver. Like you feel the shift sometimes, and just the animals moving around. Wow, that's got to be weird. The USDA trims corn soy production estimates. National crop yield estimates were unchanged this month: 180 bushels of corn and 52.5 bushels of beans. Corn and beans, corn and beans. Council of Presidents offers advocacy opportunities for IFB leaders. Council of Presidents. Council of Presidents. What the AF, AFBF held its Council of Presidents event last week in Washington, D.C., giving IFB leadership a chance to continue advocacy efforts. Sounds like a bunch of schmoozing with people in power and such. I don't know what's happening there, but that's kind of weird. Scouting season, tar spot, Japanese beetle issues pop up. Ooh, the Japanese beetles, man, those are definitely scary because you think if you're not trained to look at them, you think you might have ladybugs. Like, oh, those are good for me. But then the Japanese beetles are not good. They're an invasive species. It's not good
They,
stuff.
they do look like ladybugs, don't they?
They do. They're a little different color, I believe. I honestly can't even describe the difference because I haven't seen that many of them. But you're gonna have to go over here because your big butt's not gonna sit on my keyboard. Sorry. There you go. Raider Family Farms joint. You know what? That might be good. A good. Let's sidebar and let's go Japan. How do I spell Japanese? Versus ladybug. This is a valuable comparison because a lot of us have this possibility of an issue. Let's see.
So this beetle, this has just decimated the timber up around Colorado. Is that right? All these forests, all these trees, they die from it. Is that how it goes?
I've heard they're pretty destructive, but I don't know any details on it. Now it looks like this is the difference. They're orange, and the eyes look a little different too. Although those eyes look different from each other even. So I don't know how to. I think the orange color is really the biggest
Wow, I
difference.
think I have seen that before. That's a trip.
They have more dots, and the dots are smaller, more spots on. Well, maybe not. That one doesn't look. The orange color is really the only thing I can for sure see the difference in.
Yeah, man, it's crazy going around this high country, and it's just like you see all these dead trees, and you're like, is it supposed to look like that? It's like, no, you can. They're all just. It's not that time of year, and that's why they look like that. It's like, no, they are. They're dead. They're dying, and it's a fire risk, and it's a real shame. These are. The aspens are so good looking up there. I I don't know if that's one of the trees it's affecting.
I'd have to look into it, but that's something I bet they're affecting a lot of places. But this is actually a picture of the chat's kind of covering it a bit, but this is a picture of a bunch of different Asian lady beetles. Now, to what Twisted said, I put it up on screen. They have an M shape on the head. I do see that for a bunch of these, but I don't see it on like some of these weirder ones, all black ones. Now, most of us aren't going to mistake those for ladybugs, so I think really the main issue is ones we might mistake for ladybugs is the problem. Anyway, back to that's food and wine. Let's go here. I guess there's quite a few headlines this week. It's unusual actually for farm week now. At the very least, I do want to look into fertilizer for a moment because it's shitty work, but somebody's got to do it. Let's see, farmers looking to lock in fall fertilizer prices might experience some sticking stock sticker stock as they, or I'm sorry, sticker shock as they shop. Jeez, what the tongue twister. The market continues to creep higher this summer, and there doesn't appear to be any relief in sight. Fertilizer has already kind of set itself up for higher prices than what we saw last year, really across the board. Graham Utter, that's his name, Graham Utter, senior area sales and member risk manager for Growmark, told DeLoss Janke of the RFD radio network. Nitrogen market has set a floor globally. So nitrogen market. Fish emulsions, man, need to up the fish market. The ongoing conflict in the Middle East and the slowdown of fertilizer production in some locations, including Europe, due to tight natural gas supplies, are among the drivers of rising prices, according to Utter. In 2024, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Iran ranked as the third, fourth, and fifth largest exporter of nitrogen fertilizer, respectively. That is insane. I would not have guessed that. I would not have guessed those three countries being right up the top of nitrogen for like what is it they're exporting? Is it cattle fertilizer?
This is petroleum based product. We're talking about nitrogen here, huh? Yeah, this is what's crazy is the petroleum industry is at the root of so many
No,
of
no,
our
this is
problems.
not nitrogen's from poop. Nitrogen, this will be livestock industry.
I don't think so. Look, keep looking into it. Then you think they're raising that many cattle in
That's what I'm
the
saying. What
desert?
is it? That's
Well, that's
must
what I'm
be it.
telling you. It's a
Maybe it is
petroleum
something else.
product.
The
Why don't
Middle
you?
East conflict. Well, let's keep reading here. The Middle East conflict will have some lasting effects. The area produces quite a bit of urea, urea,
Urea.
urea. Okay. It creates trade flow issues, and the end result is we're seeing higher nitrogen prices. So they're just breaking it down to nitrogen, but to your point, there could be so many places they're getting it from. In Illinois, prices as of July 11 averaged 796.46 per ton of anhydrous ammonia, up $3.64 from the previous 2 weeks. $786 for diammonium diammonium phosphate. Damn, up $12.22. $429.60 for liquid nitrogen, up $6.38, and $474.08 for potash, up $6.25, according to the biweekly Illinois production costs report.
You ready? I looked this up here. You want to hear about how
Okay,
they make
let's
the
hear it.
nitrogen fertilizer? Here you go. Qatar has vast reserves of natural gas. It is one of the top three exporters globally. While nitrogen itself comes from the air, our air is like almost 80% nitrogen.
Hmm.
The process to make nitrogen fertilizers like urea and ammonia depends on natural gas or petroleum products. The process goes like this: nitrogen, it uses the Haber-Bosch process, which combines nitrogen from the air with hydrogen. The hydrogen is almost always made by steam, reforming the natural gas, the methane, and breaking it into hydrogen and CO2. The resulting ammonia can be sold directly or further processed into urea or other nitrogen fertilizers. Yeah, so it's like, isn't that a trip? So think about it: all the plastics, all the microplastics we're drowning in, all the nitrogen fertilizers. They call this conventional agriculture, but it's toxic
Mm-hmm.
agriculture. We're using poisons like glyphosate to kill our weeds. That actually puts us on a cycle where you are more prone to need the nitrogen fertilizers because you just killed the fertility of your soil, and now you got weaker plants. Now you want to buy the insecticides. So it's this whole thing, and there you go again. You got the petroleum industry at the heart of it. These chemicals are weapons. A lot of these were like leftover weapons from World War II. So the war machine, the big ag poison, and even pharmaceutical products. They're petroleum based.
Mm-hmm.
These little sugar pills. This is we had traditional medicine, natural medicine going back millennia, and that's been supplanted by so-called conventional medicine with this petroleum products. They say Rockefeller had a lot to do with that, really getting into putting his propaganda and kind of taking over the universities and yeah, so it's just wild how the petroleum industry has its tentacles and everything.
Yeah, totally. I didn't. I'm kind of blown away a little bit by this because I literally thought fertilizer was different animals' poops. Different animals'
Well,
dung,
that's the
stuff like
natural
that.
way. That's true.
Yeah, and I never knew there was a way to. I honestly did not think about them taking natural gas and using it as fertilizer. And obviously, there's a process in there, but I don't
Well,
know.
I'll tell you another harmful thing about what they're doing is nitrogen is it's very volatile. Okay, like you take a leak and you don't flush it. That smell you smell, you come back an hour later, you go to the wrong bathroom. That's because it's so volatile. It gets into the air. It kind of dissipates.
Isn't that
Now
methane, or is that so kind of similar
that's
process? Maybe
it kind of breaks down. It's
multiple
not
gases
methane,
at
but
once.
ammonia is involved, and so to lock it in place, the nitrogen, they're using salts. Now, salt's no good for soil. So long term, even just using the fertilizers, let alone these antibiotics like glyphosate that are killing the microbes in the soil, the salt is making it hard for the plants to grow over time. So it's like people talk about losing our topsoil. In the meantime, our food just isn't as nutritious as it should be. They're putting NPK, these big macronutrients for the plants back in the soil with the nitrogen and whatnot. But we're not getting those trace nutrients, those trace minerals that are so important as well. Like you're saying that you would be getting when you're doing things naturally with compost, with manure from animals. So yeah, so many,
So
so many reasons. Just do it right.
right, and I have I want to say it was last week I talked about this farm that fertilizes its own land, and what they do is they have cattle with a like a catch system that's made with concrete underneath of the cattle pen when they're eating, and so then they can liquefy it and then they inject it into the ground. They don't just spray shit everywhere, which does happen in some places, but then you end up with a bunch of other problems. And so what they do is they can get it underground and inject it underneath of their farmland, which is a interesting process. Let me read this one last paragraph. There's a bunch more to it, but the jump in fertilizer prices could put farmers in a bit of a predicament this fall. Corn prices recently dropped to the lowest level since September 2020, but the possibility of strong yields this fall could boost the need to replace nutrients in the soil. What do you mean boost the need? Like that's there's always a 100% need to replace nutrients in the soil. Like there's never a higher or lower need to replace nutrients in the soil. That's crazy. And then the prices that they're so worried about prices per year, but they're not thinking they. I think farmers are so stuck into that yearly thing that they can't think 5 years ahead. And they might. No, don't get me wrong, farmers. I'm not out there with you. I did go out there and talk to a lot of farmers, but every farmer might be different and stuff. I don't want to insult you guys, but I also don't think you have the time to sit there and look at what's really going on. Now, some farmers do. There's that one guy I reference him, but I can't remember his name. He goes on to Joe Rogan's podcast every so often. I think it's seen twice on there, and he's all about he was doing the factory farming with all of the pesticides, all of the chemicals, and it took him about 20 years to convert back all the way to regenerative agriculture. And they talk about it a lot, where he will do soil testing from the farm down the road that does still do all the chemicals, and then his soil, and you can just look at the difference. It's just insane. And the guy that's just in that grind and using the chemicals and stuff, it's almost like they can't see the forest through the trees because they're stuck in that. Oh, I need the bushels. I need this winter. I got to get through it. Bless you. Um, but yeah, it's sad story, because a lot of farmers are, they're very smart people. They just are busy working. They have a lot of physical work to do. Um,
Right on, right on.
all right, let's see what else we can find here. A lot of good comments, guys. I apologize, I'm not able to
Did
read
you
them
did you
all.
see this link I put in the chat here? I put a
Uh,
link about we're releasing the sterile flies for the screwworm.
I see your
And
message, but send me it in the DM if you can, because I don't see the link itself.
all right, let me try like this. So what's going on with this is people are concerned that we're getting
Oh, you're putting it in the private chat. Put it in the main chat if you would. Sorry, you got to hit the down arrow there and put it into like Rumble. The Rumble chat's probably the best one though.
okay.
All right, go ahead. Then I'll.
Well, anyways, I was getting to see my my friend. He's moving the cows around naturally. You talk about doing things the right way. Did you find it?
I can't click on it from there.
Oh,
I need it in my DMs or something. I can
nice.
I can see it. I just can't click it. I guess I could copy and paste it. Maybe That's one way.
I tried to open up the Rumble and it got a little wonky. You
It's all
know,
right. I got it.
when I so this screwworm, it looks like a normal housefly, looks like a regular fly. But what's so bad about this? This thing decimated our cattle industry. Back in the 30s, almost 100 years ago, and You talk about some mad science tech, man. I am so skeptical of everything that the industry's putting out. Almost half of the drugs they get pulled that are approved by the FDA. Okay, so I look at big pharma as serial criminals, a medical cartel. But allegedly back in the 30s, they got rid of this screwworm, which was really decimating the cattle industry, by releasing these flies that are sterilized by
Hmm.
radiation. And so they're looking to do this again. So just this last week, they started to release these in Texas. They've been doing this in Central America already, but they had gotten this fly um, pretty much eradicated all the way down to Panama. And I guess maybe they were getting into the jungle and they couldn't go any further than that. But it's back, and yes, people are a little concerned about that. But like talking to my friend, he's saying you just gotta be looking at your animals every day, which I think that's what a good shepherd or a good rancher, a good cowboy should be doing. And if you're checking on those animals and you see they what happens is this fly wants to leave its eggs in a little wound, in a little scratch
Hmm.
of the cattle, and so if you see they got a little wound, you just need to get a little insecticide in there, and it's really not so bad. It's pretty easy to handle once you find it. But if you don't handle it, these little larvae are flesh eating and can really do a number on the cattle. So yeah, this is a lot of concern about this, but and I just think it's interesting they're using the sterile fly technique. It sounds like something that Bill Gates is proposing with mosquitoes. Bill Gates, of course, I think maybe everything he does is every syllable he speaks is maybe like directly opposed to humanity. But
Seems like it.
doesn't it? I mean, he talks about these. I think he's talked about mosquito bites. Like, hey, we could make that like a vaccine. Forget informed consent. You go outside, you're gonna get go to the wrong.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
I
so
see where
crazy.
you're going. The mosquitoes could distribute the vaccine.
I think he's proposed that. But something he has done with the mosquitoes is they've got a GMO one. They've got one they've genetically altered and to be sterile. And then this is something they did with screwworms. So what they did is they uh, take all the males, or they just release, like, somehow they can figure out which ones are males. They release billions of these flies that are males that are sterile. They sterilize them by radiation, and then this kind of I guess drowns out the males that are there that are fertile, and then there's no progeny from that, and kind of cuts the cycle. But um yeah, I don't know. I'm stunned this works because this just seems like something that's so against nature, and I can't imagine they were doing this back in the 30s, almost 100 years ago. And
Seems like such a weird answer to the problem too. It's like,
doesn't it?
shouldn't there be a natural answer? Not, maybe not now with everything we're doing
I don't know. I
now.
guess I guess what I like about this, I'll say, is that at least they're sterilizing them something with like radiation, which you could say is natural. You could find some radioactive things out in nature somewhere,
True.
but
You did
and they're
say
not.
it's. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Go
Well, they're
ahead.
not messing with the genetic code, which I just really think is always just so
That's
many so
that's
many ways that
huge.
could go wrong.
That's actually a good call. I thought that I would have assumed they were like these are genetically modified flies that are only allowed to live for a certain time. But the one thing I do see nature fighting back a lot of times with certain things like plastics. We've seen now fungus and bacteria now that can eat plastic. So I don't know. I don't know that it's enough to save us per se, but I can see Mother Nature sort of works on these problems on its own. You know what I mean? Um, anyway, let me read the takeaway points of this article you sent me. The U.S. is releasing millions of sterile screwworm flies bred in Texas to combat the flesh-eating New World screwworm. Now, they also have plants in Mexico, I believe, that do this. Recently discovered in southern Mexico and spreading north, parasite which eats living flesh was recently detected about 700 miles from the U.S. border in Mexico and has killed livestock and even infected humans. Sterile fly A technique first used by the U.S. in the 1960s is now in Panama, prevents female screwworms from reproducing by mating them with sterile males. Oh, so the worm is a fly? See, I thought it was that flies ate the worms.
They
Okay.
so they call it a screwworm. I think why they call it that is because it's the larva. It's the
Yeah,
larva
yeah.
state where they look a little like a worm, where they are so just eating the flesh of
They
the
can
of the
burrow in, yeah.
yeah, and a whole bunch of them, right? So this is why they're called that. I think maybe it was a misnomer at the time of what they thought it was. Really, it's just the larva of these flies, and yeah, they just look like a common housefly. It's a little different.
I just realized the website you sent me. This is literally one of the websites I go to every week to look at. The problem is when I go there, it's typically just a bunch of food news that which I like. It's sometimes it's fun to look at, and people like to see different things. But at the same time, I'm usually looking for something more serious in the food news. So if I go here, they only give you grocery store, food brand, or food science options which or maybe I guess I don't need to click the options. I can just go down here. Here it is. That's the story. FDA, another natural food. Oh no, this is something else. Okay, the FDA just approved another natural food dye for use in several common snacks and drinks. Okay, let's go. The one thing to cut from your diet if you're having frequent nightmares, according to science, is that cheese. I hear that cheese isn't really that good for you. You talk to pro wrestlers and people who are just super like trying to stay super fit. I think it was I think it was the incredible or not incredible, the incredible Hulk Hogan when he was on with Rogan one time. He's like he stays away from dairy, stays away from cheese. I don't know why, but I
Have
guess
you ever heard of something called rennet? It's a GMO product that's used in most of our cheese these days. Have you heard of that?
no.
I don't like that. I mean, you look that up. That's just crazy. I
Rennet.
hadn't heard about this until about a year ago, and
Oh,
something
that's
about
not
the
what
way
I'm
that
looking
they're
for.
processing this cheese is
Can you
uh
spell it?
yeah, put RENNET, put cheese, and just put GMO and see what comes up there. And yeah, what does that say there? Read
Read
that.
what the AI says here. Rennet is an enzyme used in cheese production to coagulate milk, and it can be derived from various sources. Traditionally, it comes from the stomachs of young calves, but today, most cheese in the United States is made using genetically modified rennet. This GMO rennet is typically produced using genetically modified organisms such as fungus or bacteria that are engineered to produce uh, chimosin, the key enzyme in rennet. Yeah, that's so weird because they use bacteria and fungus to make a whole to like synthesize a whole bunch of things now that doesn't normally come from those things. It's crazy. The use of GMO rennet has become widespread due to its cost effectiveness and consistency compared to animal rennet. Right, so they can make more faster. Go ahead, Johnny.
Yeah, so they're saving a couple cents per block of cheese, and we're the guinea pigs. You know, it's America, land of the free. The corporations do what they want. No, no rules, man. It's a tyranny. I think if things were labeled, if we had transparency, and we should have informed consent. I think a lot of people would say, no, 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 no. I don't want to be a part of your experiment. I don't want my kids to be a part of your experiment. Give me the old fashioned stuff that we know we've had for 1,000 years. This GMO stuff that you guys, you know what they're saying that's really disappointing, Waylon. You can find quotes from 7 different editors of different journals for studies for peer reviewed research. 7 different editors that are saying this is all malarkey. One of the quotes goes like, you can't trust half this science. It's the industry interests cherry picking the data, writing this stuff. They're the ones paying the tens of millions of dollars for these studies, and yeah. So uh, where's the safety testing? The FDA takes the research of the industry. It's so easy to fabricate and doctor the statistics. What did Mark Twain say? He said, "There's lies, damn lies, in statistics." It's very easy if you have a bias towards what you want your research to show, and we've caught them These guys are fraudsters, they're liars, they're serial criminals, and our agency's there to protect us. To me, this is the one role of government that we really need. We need them to protect us one from the other. Okay, but these big profiteers who are holocausting us, these tyrants, are getting the radar legislation. They're capturing the institutions meant to safeguard us, and yeah, it's great to have Kennedy in there. He's there's something called an acronym called GRASS. Have you heard this? Generally recognized as safe. So this was a
I've
category.
heard that phrase, but I've never heard it as grass. Interesting.
This is a category that is for things like chicken. We know chicken's safe. We don't need to do testing for chicken. We know salt's safe. We know milk's safe. We know cheese is safe. We know baking soda's safe. Okay. Well, so for all of these different things, we're like, well, we don't need to test those. But then all of a sudden, back around the year 2000, we started letting a law got passed to change things. Where now these corporations, we've got thousands of chemicals in our food that are not in other countries, or not in Europe. Only we are eating them. Only our children are the guinea pigs, and we're getting decimated. We got dozens of diseases going parabolic. No other country is as sick as we are, and yeah, we got to demand a whole lot better. Oh man, we got a comment here I want to address. So JB
Go ahead.
saying, what kind of real knowledge or education does Kennedy have on this stuff? Well, he's been suing the likes of Monsanto and all these bad guys for 40 years. So to win in the courtroom as a lawyer, you gotta know everything you gotta know about all this stuff. It's like getting a PhD in the subject. What do you say, Waylon?
I think, I think what he's doing. I'm excited for what he's doing, but I don't. I hesitate to put all the pressure on him to make the difference. People like you and me and others who kind of echo and also do our own research, um, help to bolster that, help to push those ideals. Like I know I have some fans of mine, some viewers that don't like Kennedy, and that's fine. That's up to you out there to make your own opinions. I don't think any one man is flawed, right? So like I'm not going to say Kennedy's not without his flaws. Same goes for every person out there that you look up to, and I think that we just pay attention to what he's doing, and we can maybe help by echoing some of it and by talking about some of it. Like this discussion with autism has exploded now because of him, and you have all these sort of partisan people who want to jump on a bandwagon one side or the other, whether they like him or don't like him. But either way, I think it's great that the conversation is being had more. Same goes with glyphosate and these other in the food dyes. Whether you like him or don't like him, he's bringing these conversations to the forefront, to the mainstream, and I think that alone is worth its weight in all the criticisms, in my opinion. But that's just me. Now, like I think he's already done some good. If he stopped now, I think I'd be happy with just the food dyes being taken out. Although there's so much more that needs to be done, I don't know that he can do it all in his time there. But it would be great to at least address things like glyphosate. Do you think that'd be the number one thing, or too much money
For
in
me,
it?
it's the number one, and I think you would have went after it already. But the big ag, they
Too
have
much
such a
money.
stranglehold.
Hmm.
They got such a stranglehold on everything. So it's a lot of bureaucracy, and if you go too fast, you can't. It's getting a lot of lawsuits. He's getting sued right now just for saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't be recommending these clot shots for healthy kids. The kids were never at risk from COVID. It was like a statistically zero, and well, maybe if they're super sick kids, but the healthy kids
Hmm.
weren't anyways. And we're seeing myocarditis. A study just came out saying that people that are taking the COVID shot, it's really affecting eyesight. Of course, we're seeing strokes go up. We're seeing heart attacks go up. We're seeing cardiovascular disease. Um,
I haven't heard about the
yeah,
eyesight.
yeah,
That's
it just came out. I could send you this one. It's a small study, but it seems legit. You can look up Nicholas Hulsher, and he just was getting the word out about it. Um, yeah, it's But Kennedy's doing real stuff besides just the dyes. He's getting the dyes out, which that seems like a great place to start because who can argue about this, right? These are known carcinogens. It's like collect all the colors of the rainbow, and it's like you're getting all these
Oh, how you
different
spell
forms of cancer.
Nicholas? What's the
Uh, it's
last
N-
name?
it's Hulsher, Hulsher, and Nick's
Oh,
great
spelling
for
it wrong. That's weird.
ringing the bell on these issues. But something that try to find his name and go to
There it
him.
is.
What do you? It's maybe going to be his second or third thing he did before. All right. First, let's look at that first one here. The biggest study. He's so good about ringing the bell on this. Look at this. For those who don't know, can you scroll up a little higher?
Yeah,
All right.
right
Two of the largest COVID safety studies in history, covering 184 million people, confirm the shots are not safe. Myocarditis up 500%. Brain, spinal cord. This is myelitis up 200, 300%. Brain clots. Press the show more button
here.
just in case there's anybody watching who are still taking these things or not telling their friends not to take them. Heart attack, stroke, coronary artery disease, cardiac arrhythmias. This is a study
One
of almost
dose,
200 million people.
two doses at the most. Some of these say one dose or two dose. That's
Right.
crazy.
So it like two doses a lot less than one, or a lot worse than one. The body, there's things that show this. The body really starts to freak out more and more at this. You're injecting aluminum into your body along with a lot of other crazy things, along with the spike protein. This spike protein is the most toxic part of COVID. So you're like getting a COVID injection into your body. It goes everywhere. It goes and gets into your heart tissue. Myocarditis is something that your body can't heal from because the heart is always beating, so it's never got a rest period to where it can regenerate that tissue and heal itself. Now, so that's and this spike protein gets in the heart, so it's damaging people's hearts for life. There's no coming back from that. There's no fixing that. And this was shown in the original Pfizer trials. So yeah, pretty crazy. We got
Have you
Dolly. We
heard
never
about
had an
this?
issue.
Yeah. She has brought this up a couple times. I want to look into it because I think it's a myth that there's a measles outbreak right now.
Let's talk about the measles outbreak, okay? So now, if you look at the
21
VAERS
hours ago.
report,
Go
so
ahead.
now let's talk about the VAERS report. The VAERS report is where our vaccine injuries are reported, including our deaths. Now, from the COVID vaccine, we have 40,000 COVID deaths, or COVID vaccine deaths reported. From measles, we see about 500. Now, several studies have said this is a passive system. So you have to jump through some hoops to get this reported. Doctors are super busy. I don't know if you've ever spent time with a doctor. They'll see so many patients in a day. The reason they're rushing you out a lot of times is they got another 3 patients waiting on them. Now, they don't really file those reports like they should. And it's been estimated that it's 30 times or 100 times less than it should be. So you look at that 500 deaths from the measles vaccine over the last 20 years times 30. It's closer to that. It's an insane amount of kids that are dying. SIDS was happening in Japan, sudden infant death, just like what now we got SADS, sudden
Right.
adult death. They quit giving that MMR vaccine, that measles vaccine, or they started giving it later. They just started giving it later. We're giving it to the babies when they barely have an immune system to set, but they started putting that off a little further, and they took care of SIDS and really helped out with their autism.
Hmm.
So
So I haven't seen this. This is from July 9th, but evidently there's an outbreak in Texas. But does that mean death? I don't know.
it doesn't mean death, and the measles death reports that were
It says deadly. Do not
reported,
improve deadly
they were
outbreak.
complete nonsense. Measles, it's man, you want to, if you're healthy, measles is not going to take you out, and you know
Vitamin A,
there's
isn't it? Was it vitamin A or something that they found was like the biggest thing that helps measles?
That's exactly right, man. We found that sanitation and nutrition is what's really knocked out these infectious diseases. There's a chart I'd love if you could show for whoever's in the comments who loves the vaccines, and it's this idea that uh, all of these infectious diseases were down to like 1% of what they were as far as deaths reported before the vaccine came out, because vaccines used to take 20 years to make. Well, maybe they made it already, or they're just experimenting on us now, and they don't care so much. But yeah, it's a great chart that just shows for all of the different vaccines, be it polio, be it measles. By the time the vaccines came out, Death rates were near zero for all of these diseases. But
Yeah, yeah, you would see death. You would see like death, death, death everywhere for all the from all the critics. Instead, the critics say outbreak. Look, there's an outbreak. Oh, look, people have measles all of a sudden. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I had them as a kid, or at least the what's the other one? Chicken pox.
it's called measles because it's so measly. There's an episode of what's the one with the six kids from the two different families all getting together, the Brady Bunch.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
Brady Bunch episode. It's all about the measles. They're making jokes about it. They're like, "Oh man, if I'm gonna be sick with anything, I hope it's measles. I get to stay home from school. No big deal." That's exactly what it was. It was a punchline for a joke. But we've got big pharma, the medical criminals. They've had to pay $82 billion with a B in criminal penalties in just the last 12 years. These guys are repeat serial fraudsters. You know, the they avoid all accountability. They cause the opioid epidemic. How many people went to jail for that? Zero. How many billions of dollars did they make? I think 12. How
Stupid.
much in fines did they have to pay? A fraction of that. How much did they actually really pay? Zero as of yet. They're trying to play a shell game and say they're bankrupt. These guys are just. If they were a person, we'd have them locked up. If they were a person, they'd be on death row. But they're not people. They have this special protection from us when they harm us, and these profiteers are holocausting us, intentional or not.
So this is just the AI from the Brave um, uh, browser. So take it as you will. But it says the outbreak has led to 150 hospitalizations and 3 deaths, including 2 unvaccinated children in Texas and 1 unvaccinated adult in New Mexico. Now, so they're saying the only deaths were from unvaccinated. That's what this is saying. But it's also coming from the CDC. CDC and prevention, or CDC has noted that the outbreak is driven by low immunization rates, summer travel, which is just like a random, like they throw summer travel in there, and then they say, and the changes in vaccine policy under Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has faced criticism for anti-vax views and the replacement of CDC vaccine advisory committee. Now, let me push back against all of this, and I guess there's a lot of people out here that may have strong feelings on this, but I want to point out that none of this takes into account all of the garbage and poison that our kids take right now, and that is ruining their immune system, right? I mean, we talk about a healthy person could get through this, but they also say summer travel is one of the reasons. Oh, so you go and get it, you only get it because you traveled or because you're low immunization rates. That there's so many more factors to our immune system, not just whether you get the shot or not. Like they're not even talking about any of those.
Listen, can you bring something up? I posted it as natural way in the Rumble chat. It's an X link, or I also put it in your Twitter DMs, and it shows this chart I was telling you about. That's all about how the death rate went down to about near zero before the vaccine ever came out for all of these different vaccines that were just pumping into our kids. Now look, who was it in the comments who loves the vaccines? Dolly,
She said she had 4
Brenda,
of them.
whoever
Dolly
loves all
is
the
a ghost.
vaccines. Let me tell you something like this. For anybody who's real critical of anybody who's skeptical about vaccines for kids, our vaccine schedule has exploded. So you had 3 shots, and the kids today are getting 15 shots, or you had, depending on how you look at it, maybe you had 7 doses of different shots. The kids today are getting 70. Okay, they're getting 5 times what you had if you had your vaccines in 1986. Why did the vaccine schedule explode? It exploded because they have a license to kill. They have a liability shield where you cannot sue them, you can't take them to court, so there's no downside risk for them. And why do they have that? Because in 1986, they went to Congress hat in hand and they said, we're losing too much money from all the millions of dollars we're having to pay to the children we're harming. We need this, or we're going to have to go out of business. And they said, for public health, we have to do this. So now the vaccine schedule has exploded. So if that's true, if you're saying, and this was in the Supreme Court, is what the Supreme Court said, they said vaccines are unavoidably unsafe, and it makes sense. You're going to inject aluminum into your body or inject mercury into you're going to inject a metal that you tell a pregnant woman, don't eat fish when you're pregnant because you don't want that getting in the kid's brain. You're going to inject that into the baby.
It's
That's
not like we
insane.
have aluminum supplements. Like there's no other reason or anywhere else where you ingest aluminum.
Well, let me tell you why do they use aluminum? Why do they use mercury? Here's why.
Well, I know
They
part of it, but go ahead.
they want to use it as an adjunct. What does that mean? An adjunct is something that produces an immune response. So it's something toxic to the body, so the body can remember the antigen that's in the shot and say, "Oh, when I see that next time, we're going to fight it. We're going to be ready for it." Okay. What? So so that so why do they use aluminum and mercury to get an immune response? Because it's so toxic. They want the body to remember it. So it's like it's just short of like killing you. Is like the way they're thinking about it. Like wow, this is super toxic. The body's not going to forget this. It's crazy for the chicken pox now. We all had the chicken pox. You know, there's a chicken pox vaccine. You know, they don't give the chicken pox vaccine in Europe. You know why they don't do that? They say we're not doing that because when you get older, you're
More
more
susceptible to other
to
things.
to shingles. You'll catch shingles, and
That's
it's a
it.
big
Yeah.
deal when you get older. You know, when we're kids, we're taught, hey, go have a chicken pox party. We want everybody to get it.
Right.
So when you get older, you're going to be immune to shingles. Well, if you take the chicken pox vaccine, it works the other way, and that's what we're doing to our kids because our country is run by criminals. It's been captured. It's been taken over, and yeah, guys, we need to wake up. They own our media. They own YouTube. Like I see, we're streaming to YouTube. Like I don't know, maybe we can cancel that or delete it because
I
like
literally am only there to tell people to come find me elsewhere. Like we're on YouTube, but YouTube doesn't like my shit at all.
I do streams like this, and I a lot of them I'm like, oh no, I know I'm going to be talking about vaccines a little bit on this one. I'm not going to send this to YouTube, and
Not worried
eh,
about it. They don't see me anyway.
what
Go ahead.
this is my point. YouTube is like the town square of where we can all speak these days. And all these other social medias, Facebook was just as bad during the pandemic. Twitter was just as bad during the pandemic. You can't talk about the real stuff. So on
Ooh.
CNN and ABC and NBC and on all the newspapers and all the magazines, they're all just going right along with the pharma narrative. They're taking all that advertising money. They've captured our government, and then we can't even talk about it on YouTube. This is so crazy. The tyranny we're living under. They are Holocaust on us. Can you show that chart again?
Yeah.
I want to point this out to the people here. So scroll this up a little bit. So now look, all these diseases are measles, scarlet fever, whooping cough, the diphtheria, and smallpox. And you see them kind of starting up high and going down. And now you got these little lines. You got these little red circles all the way on the right. That's when the vaccine came out. That's when the vaccine came out. When all of these diseases were down to nothing. So now we're putting our kids at risk with aluminum shot after aluminum shot after aluminum shot, 70 of them for these diseases. That's crazy.
And okay, so what I heard of the aluminum and mercury is supposed to sterilize and kill anything living in there.
You know, they do use preservatives to keep anything from doing that. But yeah, and it could work for that as well. But as I understand it, these are adjuvants.
Hmm.
Mostly there for to provide an immune response.
I see. And I got to say guys, I see all the comments on the Rumble Facebookers. I'm sorry I'm not able to look at your comments as often. But yes, a lot of people have strong opinions on this, but it needs to be talked about because Johnny and I are not going to be up here and say you need to do what we do, but we're not going to be quiet about our opinions on things that matter. And I'm never going to say you shouldn't have your opinion because you guys know that's what I do Thursday nights for. I want to hear opposing views on these things. That's why I want you guys to comment down there and tell us what you think. Um, but this is pretty crazy with the polio for sure. I remember hearing about this where it's kind of a myth that the polio vaccine did anything because that's one of the main things that people point to when they talk about vaccine efficacy. They say, "Oh, well, the polio." It's like, well, I don't know if we think we know or we know what we think we know.
Polio, they were doing the funny ways of counting what counted as
Yep,
polio
that was
before
another
the
one.
vaccine and after the vaccine. So before the vaccine, if you had any sort of a paralysis, which now one of those is Guillain-Barré, we saw that kind of went
Hmm.
up with the more you took the COVID shot in the study we were looking at earlier.
Hi, Kayla.
but what they did is they took all these different forms of paralysis, they broke them into their different specific conditions, and then they said, no, no, no. Now you only have polio if you get tested twice within 6 months, get two positives for the virus, and you have this sort of paralysis. So they totally changed it. So, uh, A, was it even effective versus polio? Doubtful. B, what was causing all the paralysis before that? It was DDT. DDT. We quit doing the DDT. DDT really caused it, and it was actually the way Forrest Moretti wrote a great book on this called "The Moth and the Iron Lung," and he talks about how this happened. So what the DDT did was it made the kids more susceptible to the virus, and it's a real funny thing. And you can talk about how it happened. You know, it got down into the stomach. The DDT did messed with the gut lining. The virus would get down into the spinal column, but it would only really affect the front of the spinal column, and that's why it manifested itself in a funny way where there wasn't a lot of a pain associated with it, like you would have seen on the back of the spinal column, but you did have this paralysis. So this is man, it goes way, way, way into the weeds, way into the details on all this. But we were spraying kids with DDT like we were fogging them, like a fog machine.
Yeah.
There's videos of them doing this while the kids are in the pool swimming, and it's just like there's so many pictures and videos of us using DDT because it's a powerful insecticide. But yeah,
And
it
we
turns out
expect those kids to raise us because they're those. Those our parents. We expect them to do good by us. Holy shit!
forever and ever, what they had all those studies. Tobacco is safe for you. Asbestos is safe for you. Lead is
Right.
safe for you. You know, the science is science until like you get enough people without any money to do these studies,
Hmm.
making any money doing this stuff to fund these studies. You know, a randomized control trial takes more than $10 million, and that's why they say, "Oh no, 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 you don't have any science for ivermectin." Ivermectin, you can give out 1,000 doses for $3.
There's
Okay,
data that they want to avoid, but there isn't any quote scientific studies or whatever that like you're saying. The data is like hundreds of countries around the world have been using it for decades. Like there's literal data behind it, but not
listen. The
studies.
inventors of ivermectin. They won the Nobel Peace Prize because it's such a powerful medicine. It's the WHO, the World Health Organization. They're some of the most corrupt captured criminals, but even them, they have the ivermectin on their list of essential medicines. This is one of the safest drugs that we have. If you take 1,000 times the recommended dose, it won't be lethal in just about all cases. All right, it's going to resolve itself. So, um, yeah, ivermectin is one of the safest. We see its antiviral properties. They take it every week in some African countries to prevent
Right.
river blindness, which is it's a viral phenomenon. So we know it has antiviral properties going way back. But what are they doing on the TV? They're saying, "Oh, don't take the horse paste." You know, we had a lot of funny business going on. We had places where ivermectin was being manufactured. Those we had big fires wiping them out. We had countries where it was available over the counter and they pulled it. They took it
Mhm.
off the shelves. So why would you take? I mean, this is a drug that's way safer than aspirin. Way safer than aspirin. And you're going to take that from us during a pandemic when you're saying we don't have anything to help. Well, why not use some of the safest drugs that we know might work that are
It's obvious
antivirals?
fuckery. Obvious fuckery.
And I was banned from social media, at least 3 times for just sharing the peer-reviewed science. There were peer-reviewed science, maybe not the gold standard of a randomized control study where everything's blinded, but we did have studies, and these observational studies, by the way, are just as good as a randomized control study sometimes, often. So, and their gold standard of science,
Maybe
those randomized control studies, guys, they don't do a single one for any of the vaccines. None of them are compared to saline. None of them are saying, how many injuries do you have for the vaccinated versus the unvaccinated? So what they do is compare, here, this is the old vaccine that harmed the kids, and the new vaccine harms the kids just a little bit worse. And it's crazy. But I don't even I don't even understand how anybody goes
Johnny
along with it.
Holocaust coming out right now,
Bro,
guys.
I'm telling you, man, it gets me fired up. I had my green tea here.
Get it.
And, bro,
Cheers.
yeah.
I'm drinking water, trying to, stay hydrated. Speaking
And
of
now they're
hydrating,
finding that ivermectin and fenbenzidole is good for cancer.
I was just going to say that
Oh,
actually they're finding out that cancer might be a sort of parasitic type of situation, or maybe not a parasite, but like at least adjacent enough that ivermectin works with it. But let's move on. Oh, go ahead and finish your point.
no, 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 no. That was it. I did
Okay.
want to see. I did throw a link in here. I want to just make sure we get to it before we wrap up at some point, and that is
Sure.
this one about what's going on with. Here, I'm going to put it in your Twitter DM. What's going on recently with this liability shield push that they're having on the federal level? They're trying to take our rights from us again, just like we mentioned for vaccines. Now they want to say, "Hey, listen, we're killing how many millions of you with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, with all of the different guys. There are dozens of diseases implicated from the use of glyphosate in our food supply. They want to take our rights to stand up about it. They want to say, no, 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 listen, we're killing your children, and you can't grow your food without poison. That's their reasoning. This is the worst lie, craziest lie in the world. Never needed poison to grow food. We got more technology, more know-how now than ever. Look at all the other countries. They're not using the poison we are, and they're so much healthier for it. And so they want to take our rights to sue them. This is our constitutional right to due process. This is our right to stand up for ourselves. This is a suspension of the rule of law that they're after. So, yeah,
Real quick before I go to it, I just want to tell everybody what we're looking at here. This is Chris, Mr. Chris Plummer. Got it growing on over here. Got his little tomatoes going. Got his berry bushes. That's really cool, Chris. You gonna make a pie? What are you gonna do with these? Very cool. We'll get to that link. Roundup. Oh snap! What do we got here? Oh, before we do this, before you get into this, let me just take a quick second to spin the number wheel. We'll of course do the door prize later. Good luck, everybody, and thank you for subscribing over at the indoorfarmer.locals.com. $2 a month or $20 for a whole year gets you in on this spin 4 times a week. You do not have to be here to win. You just have to comment on the posts, and you get in 4 times a week. We'll have one more spin tomorrow night, even if you want to join up and get in there. And you get exclusive content over there on Locals for free. Even if you just go join, it's free. Free to have an account. Free to create your own community if you want over there. I sub on Rumble, Locals, and Kick. Yeah, bro. Like you go above and beyond for a sponsor. I appreciate it. Check out twistedcannabis.com. Go. Number 3. We had a 4 and a 3 win this week. We got a few more people participating than usual. That is awesome. Guys, even if you don't necessarily aren't joined for prizes and stuff, I like to see you participate because it just makes it, makes it look more full and more people in there. Kim Marston, congrats. Just tell her congrats real quick. All
so
right.
yeah, guys. There's
Go ahead.
there's a I want to put this link down in the comments where you guys we can contact the people who got some say right now in this bill. This pesticide liability shield is going into a bill. It's in the appropriations committee right now. There's 12 senators we can call right now. Tell them, hey, no, no, no. We don't need our poison to grow our food. We don't need to do anything like that. Right. So this link, I just put it down on the Twitter, and all the senators' names there and their phone numbers are right there. I called all of them. Just left voicemails. Took me half an hour.
Oh,
Uh,
wow. Look at this right here. It would immediately impede the 67,000 pending lawsuits claiming Monsanto Bayer Roundup causes cancer. Just freezes them all.
Hmm.
67,000 lawsuits.
Yeah. So yeah, check that out. Give them a call. We're gonna just have to be banging the. We're listen, guys. This is what's going on. Us Americans, I got a post I want to show as I say this. Wish it
Sure.
was a little handier. Is there a
You
way you
can
can make me co-host
share
real
it. You
quick?
can. Oh, yeah, yeah. My bad. I didn't think about that. Let's do that.
I can
And you can
share it
share
this
it in.
way, but
My bad.
Americans, we're being taken out.
There you go.
We got all these diseases going parabolic. Everything from here. Let's see. I can't. Can I just upload something real quick?
Should be able to share screen.
Yeah, that's all right. Here, I just gotta open it then. We've got all these diseases going parabolic. Everything from autism to dementia to Alzheimer's, cancers, diabetes, obesity, autoimmune diseases, you name it. All of these are going up in lockstep with the increased use of glyphosate. Our food and medicine, they're not safe in our country. And nobody is as sick as we are. So, what I want to show here, real quick, is let's see if we can share
Click
this.
that share screen button down there, and
Let's just do the entire screen.
sure, or the tab, whatever. If
Let's
it's
see,
just a
window. Here, there it is. Boom. All right, check this out. Are you guys seeing this now, a chart?
nope, we got to go here. Boom. There we go.
Got it now? All right, great. All right, so the red line is America, land of the free, land of the tyrants, where we got lots of tyranny. These guys are running roughshod over our lives and liberties. These other countries are countries like Denmark and the UK and France and Japan. These are all the other Western countries. You look back to 1980. We were all in the jumble together. Is there a way we can move us off the bottom left corner?
Just shut your camera off,
All right, there we go.
or I
Perfect.
just did. I just shut mine off. There you
All
go.
right, so you see in 1980, us as the red line, we were right in the midst of all of this. We're all living to be, about 74 or so. And now with healthcare, with nutrition, all the other countries have gone up a lot more than we have. Why is that? Why did we start lagging behind? Why in 2010 did we start flatlining? What's going on? You could say it's different things, guys, but it's going up in we got dozens of diseases going up in lockstep with the increased use of glyphosate. And let me show you some of these ones real quick here. I want to show you this one window here. I got. Can we see this one? I
Yeah,
got a
it's on there.
dozen. I got dozens of these I can show you. So this is the increase death that we see from as we put glyphosate on our corn. What are we getting here? This one is all about. Oh, I'm here. Let me shut my camera off. It's deaths per 100,000. This one is for. I can't see what it says, but anyways, there's a ton of these, and they're all like, okay, this one is for kidney disease, kidney cancer. Oh, this one is for obesity, heart disease, Alzheimer's, dementia, uh, autoimmune issues. All of these, as we use more glyphosate, these go up, and now they're after a liability shield, and no other country is using the poison that we are. So that goes with the
Bye,
other chart
JB.
I just showed you.
Go ahead.
That goes with the other chart I just showed you. Is that we nobody's poisoning themselves like we are. So it's just it's
Turn your
absolutely
get your camera
bonkers
back
that we're
on.
letting this happen. Land of the free, yeah, for the corporations. And
Oh,
this is autism. Look at autism. So I blame vaccines for some of these as well. No other countries is vaccinated as we are. But if you look at this, what do you see here? You see at the top here an R value of 0.997. That is an unbelievable statistical correlation. Now we can get into the weeds on lots and lots of peer-reviewed studies that describe exactly how glyphosate causes all these conditions. But sometimes a chart, is worth 1,000 words. And this shows you as we're using more of this poison, which guys, it is registered as an antibiotic. Literally, we got antibiotics in our bread. You eat bread that's not organic in our country, you feel lousy. You feel like you need a nap. You eat bread in another country, you're ready to go. You're feeling great. This is the difference, and they want a liability shield right now. So those those senators that we gave that people can contact, that's what's at stake. Our lives are being taken from us, and now our freedoms too to stand up about it. And yeah, it's an important time. If you got any, if you never called before, it's a first time. It's a great first time to make that call. If you have called, it's a great time to get the head in the game on this one. This is a real
Wow.
important issue.
Yeah, it's huge. That's I can't believe they're going to try and slip in just some protections for themselves. You know.
Okay, what I wanted to say is like we're like the Jews in the gas chamber, okay? And we're trying to get out. We're banging on the door, okay? And I know a lot of people, they say, "Hey, listen, don't use the word Holocaust." It's like, well, I don't know another word that describes what's happening to us better. Okay? You could say genocide. Well, genocide implies intent, and I'm not trying to get conspiratorial. Maybe they're just doing it for profits. They're making a boatload of money. You could say democide. That's when the government is killing its own people. But I don't think
Mm,
that describes it that well because it's really this partnership between
right.
it's the corporations, it's the government like helping the corporations do it. But it's coming from these profiteers and their poisons. Holocaust, I think nails it. You mass slaughter. Uh, I don't know, but I think that Holocaust nails it. And people say, hey, don't say that word. Okay, listen. You look at the dictionary definition, it's exactly what's happening. Death on a massive scale. Okay. I don't mean to take anything away from anybody who lost anyone in World War II,
Mm.
but what's happening today is actually worse than that. Okay. We're on track to lose 40 million Americans already, just at the rate things are going, and things are getting worse and worse every day.
I agree. I think there's multiple ways that they are trying to keep our numbers down, and per se. Um, we know Planned Parenthood was always that, and I guess in the new bill, the big beautiful bill, I think that they were able to shut off the funding for Planned Parenthood. Look, if you think Planned Parenthood is a business that should be allowed to be available, fine. But I just don't think we should be footing the bill. And at least I think that was able to be severed in this recent bill. That's just one example of like another thing besides our food that is just sort of the whole industry built up around killing us, killing more people. Um, I'm not seeing anything else too major. That FDA story about the dyes might be interesting. Try Gordon Ramsay's technique for frying an egg, and you'll never look back. I don't know. 35 best summer restaurants in 7 cities according to Apple Maps. No. Pick the best rotisserie chicken at the grocery store every time with these 5 tips. Glass bottles may leak up to 50 times more microplastics, scientists say. Well, what do you know? I try not to accept water bottles anymore when someone offers me a bottle of water. And I do, there's still plastic in my kitchen, and I do, my food still touches plastic, but on a much less than it did, and I'm hoping to cut out more every day. Um, it's crazy. The water bottles that people use, they think they're healthy. They throw water bottles around everywhere. Oh, I'm going on a trip, take water bottles. Okay, and that's just plastic everywhere. It's crazy. I don't know. I don't know if I need to read the story. It's gonna piss me off. But it's officially the number one chicken sandwich chain in America, according to Yelp. I'm good on that. How David Rockwell shaped the way we dine in 40 years. Okay. Turmeric and garlic help reverse aging in just 8 weeks, researchers say. Those are good things to have, and they for some reason have blueberries on the picture as well. That's antioxidant. Turmeric, garlic, blueberries, good stuff. Real food. 6 cheeses you should buy from Costco, according to cheesemongers. Cheesemongers. Nearly 368,000 pounds of Oscar Mayer turkey bacon recalled on all 50 states due to listeria concerns. So if you are a turkey bacon person from Oscar Mayer, you might want to look into that. What's this one? Your guide to grocery store hours on July 4th. Okay, we're past that. These smart carts at Wegmans can help you. A smart cart? Oh, wow. They've gone fully technological in the carts now, huh? Is it going to be a self-driving cart soon? And you won't even have to pick the groceries. The cart will pick the groceries for you. I don't know. It's funny. Help you track spending and skip checkout lines. Oh, that's kind of cool. So they're going to cut out the employees there, cut out more employees, right, Johnny? Like, okay, we can. How can we get the customer in and out, no employees, just put it all inside of a smart cart? Ooh, Trader Joe's. I've never been to Trader Joe's, but a lot of people have those, I guess. Shoppers can't get enough of this Trader Joe's dip. No thanks. All right, I think we're going back too far now. Trying to look at a weekly update. I like Joel Mikhail shares his genius strategy for smoking a perfect a piece of beef. Oh snap! Well, okay, Joel, whatever you say. A U.S. made cream cheese spread was just named best in the world, and it's at your grocery store. Is that because it has chemicals in it to make it addicting, and they we send it out across the world? I don't know. Where's that story that we saw a minute? Okay, yeah, this might be enough. Just the headline: the FDA just approved another natural food dye for use in several common snacks and drinks. Read this earlier. Here, we'll just read the takeaway. On Monday, July 14th, the FDA announced that it's has approved the use of natural food additives, um,
Gardenia.
gardenia. What's it saying in the parentheses? Genopin, genopin, blue or dye or blue for dyeing variety of food and drinks. This is the fourth natural color that the FDA has approved for use in food in the past 2 months. Along with the approval, the FDA sent out letters pressuring more food manufacturers to speed up their removal of red dye number three from products. Yeah, okay. Get rid of that red dye number three bullshit. Um, I do typically check out the marijuanamoment.net to see what else is new going on. A lot of it's like 2 hours ago, bipartisan lawmakers talked psychedelic with Trump's VA head, reaffirming commitment to supporting veterans' access to therapy. What about my record? Are you going to expunge the record of veterans who were kicked out for the use of cannabis? Are we going to retroactively say that maybe I was doing the right thing all along? Do I get to do I get to feel better about my past? I don't know. 3 hours ago, major health groups pushed Congress to keep protecting state medical marijuana laws from federal influence. Okay, major groups, yeah, but is it major enough? Is it enough for the? Is it more than what the lobbyists are pushing for? Because there are lobbyists who want to regulate enough to the point where they can cut out all of the normal people who want to produce and process cannabis products to where it's just you got Philip Morris and these other companies are the only ones allowed to process it, things like that. I mean, there's going there's legal and then there's free, like not free like free price, but freedom, like legalizing something, but then making it to the point where only certain groups of people with a high enough influence and money can actually produce the products. That is what I think they're going to move towards and make it so. This is the other thing they're going to push more synthetic cannabinoids, and they're going to push like this isolations of everything instead of giving us the ability to have the full plant, the full effect of the entire plant, which is many different things. You can make, topicals, you can make teas, you can make so many things out of parts of the plant that you normally wouldn't process as, say, like a marijuana cigarette or such. See, 4 hours ago, USDA database describes marijuana as medical or as medicinal, even as federal government keeps it on Schedule 1. So the USDA does describe it as medicinal. Well, yeah, I mean, somebody recently, oh yeah, yesterday, Johnny, I had a guy come in the chat for the first time. 8-bit something. Shouts out to the new viewer. He said because I did kind of a specifically cannabis centric episode yesterday about a bunch of products from local dispensaries, but as I did that, this guy comes in and is like, I don't use cannabis, but I've always been curious as to why, what the deal is. And I started trying. He said basically when he thinks about it, he thinks of like a '70s hippie. And I thought I tried to tell him it's like, yeah, okay, but that was 10 years. The '70s was 10 years. You you're looking at a plant that's been used for thousands of years in cultures all across the globe, and it's been sort of boiled down or simplified to this stereotype of a flower child hippie from the '70s, which there are plenty that still do partake, and I understand that. But at least they kept it alive while it was being while the prohibition was going on. I mean, it still is going on, of course. But anyway, it's such a misunderstood plant these days, but we find it in archaeological digs, from hundreds and maybe a few thousand years ago, even. But it's interesting to see that point of view from someone who doesn't use. And I don't know. I'm guessing maybe you have touched it at one point or another, but maybe not necessarily an everyday thing. But either way, people that don't use it or have never used it just couldn't understand the difference between that. And I try to tell the person, you've used alcohol, right? Like, yeah, I drank and this and that. I said, well, try to explain that to someone who has never had any alcohol, and it's not necessarily a great comparison because obviously one of those is way more medicinal and one of them is much, much more dangerous and deadly. But it's kind of a comparison to kind of get him to imagine describing a mood altering substance to someone who's never used it or taken it. And it's just, anyway, I'm rambling, but it was an interesting find for somebody to come in like that yesterday and gave us an opportunity to talk to him. A whole bunch of comments going on, I couldn't even keep up because everybody was chatting with him in the comments yesterday. um we need to bring that up sometime. Waylon, what's up? Twisted. In- Interesting to know. I might be missing something, brother. Is this something that I said? Can you give me a clarification there? Smart cheese nano bodies to mimic perceived taste preferences. Oh, no, thank you. Alcohol is debilitating. Yes, and that's why I went on at length yesterday to explain how I don't like the equivalent or the comparison of them, but for the at least the point of a mood altering substance, one of them is a uh, inhibits your what's the word, your anyway, your alcohol inhibits your can't think of the word, where you'll do more things than you would normally do, like your
Yeah, it tamps down your inhibitions.
inhibitions. There it is. Anyway, but I don't think cannabis does that to the same degree, at least. Anyway, moving on. Let me see what's up here. You're welcome to comment on any of this or not, brother. I know this isn't your main main platform or main topic to talk about, but I always like to look at what's happening with the cannabis and psychedelic world because usually this website marijuanamoment.net shouts out they do have some pretty up to date stories on things like new Texas bill would protect consumers who try to buy legal hemp products but get marijuana instead. Oh, by accident. Amendment to fund psychedelic clinical trials at Defense Department blocked by GOP controlled congressional committee. Yeah, yeah, I could see them blocking it. Unfortunately, a large portion of the GOP is still controlled by evangelicals and more staunchly uh, religious folks. But I feel like that's also a cop out because I think there's also a lot of pharmaceutical fingers in the pie, and there's money being pushed around in the background in order to stop things like this because they don't want us to have something that's easily grown in our backyard. It's similar to ivermectin in that case because it's so cheap and easily made. I mean, if you go up to states like Michigan right now, I've not been there, but I've heard stories of, the prices of things are just incredibly low compared to, say, where I'm at in Illinois. And that's because the more freedom they allow people to grow and things like that, the higher the supply is, and the lower the cost becomes. So anyway, simple supply and demand. I don't see anything I want to read necessarily. Go ahead, Johnny.
Yeah, I was just saying, I got a call that keeps coming in. I think I got to jump off, man. But I appreciate you having me, and yeah, let's do this again sometime.
Yeah, brother. I'll be wrapping up to do the door prize here soon. Anyway, thank you for coming, and we pretty much covered anything I could think of as far as the current news. But there's oh wait, I didn't look into the flooding, so I'm gonna check that out here. You can go ahead.
I mean, I'll just say one thing. You know what? It's like we started, man. The answer to our biggest problems is our favorite plants and animals, some fruit trees, some chickens. Guys, let's be the solution, man. It's in our blood. It's who we are. Food purity, food security, and our sovereignty are all provided for when we plant paradise everywhere. Let's save the seeds and share them, and yeah, let's be free again. Let's keep our freedom.
Oh yeah. All right. Jonny Paradise over on X, guys. Go check him out. And also, he'll be popping up on people in the boxes once in a while. I don't know if you'll see it. We'll see it tomorrow, but cloud seeding could be a good one for you to talk about
Oh,
with
it's
us
coming right back around again and again.
every
Man,
Thursday.
time is flying, isn't it?
You don't. Yeah. Well, for me, it's every week, but you can pop in and out whenever you want to. But I think we're going to talk cloud seeding tomorrow. It's going to be
You
interesting.
know what? I tell you, we talked about the aluminum a little bit,
Mhm.
and for anybody who hasn't looked at Dane Wigington's called The Dimming, that's a good one. Have you seen that documentary?
The dimming.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. You got to watch it. 25 million people have watched it. It's got something like 500,000 likes. It's a great one. They got a lot of production value. It's educational, man. They're showing all these experts over the last 100 years, world leaders talking about we got to control the weather. Talks about patents. It shows old footage of chemtrails back from 60 years ago, turning off and on. And I'll just give you the other side of that because there's this guy Jim Lee you might want to look into too. He's got an interesting take where he says that look, what we're seeing isn't so much an intentional nozzle spray turn release valve that they're pushing, and it makes sense because that would be a massive conspiracy. But what he's saying is that our jet fuel is dirty, and maybe there's some additives being put in there. And he says, look, I can tell you, I can predict where the chemtrails are going to be tomorrow. And he says, you go up into the atmosphere, and then certain conditions, the humidity, the temperature, and based on those, there's going to be the exhaust from the planes is going to create this effect. So that's the other side of it. But even he's very again. Look, he's saying, look, right now they're blocking out the sun in the UK. This is a Bill Gates funded plan. He's done this. There's MIT studies about this, how they want to block out the sun to prevent global warming. Guys, right now you can look at Antarctica. This is a good article to have handy for tomorrow. The ice sheet is increasing. There's more ice over the last few years. Okay, ocean levels are actually receding a little bit over the last few years. So this thing about you know the answer again to this problem of if too much carbon in the air is a problem. The answer is carbon sequestration naturally. We do this with cattle, with chickens, rotationally grazed. When they drop their manure, the grass roots go all the deeper. They can go down 10 meters, 30 feet. And we can offset all of our carbon by doing our animal culture this way, our animal agriculture this way. That's the solution. We can rebuild our soils, make our food nutritious again, and have this local sovereignty where we have resilience come supply chain disruption. So this is the answer. And then putting aluminum up way up in the air to reflect the sun, that's insane, brother. So yeah, it is an
Yeah.
important issue. And we're getting some momentum on it. We got 30 states banning geoengineering. We got that legislation. It is a real thing. So yeah, great topic you got going. I'll try to tune in.
Cool. Yeah, and if you can stop in for a few minutes, either way, no big deal. But yeah, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. But yeah, guys, go check out Johnny on X. He also does his own show. I don't know if it's on a schedule, but you'll see him live as well.
Oh man, I just love you. Just raging into the void, bro. We gotta keep on spreading the word while we got these microphones. You don't take them from us yet. So,
Right.
all right, ciao for now,
Until it's all
brother.
AI.
Much
Right.
love.
Yeah. We'll see you.
Mahalo and aloha.
All right. We're going to do the door prize here soon, guys. I do want to see, I think we're probably going to talk about the floods tomorrow as well. So I guess I don't need to talk as much about it today, but it's kind of it's getting crazy. From what I heard, the Texas flooding is coming. Like I guess there's going to be another one or more of it if it hasn't fully stopped yet. So I want to find out clarity on that. And then North Carolina is going insane. There's just floods, like multiple floods. Last week I looked into it, and there wasn't many stories about the other floods because they hadn't killed a lot of people, and they weren't as big. Uh, I guess in comparison to the Texas flood, and so I couldn't really find really a big story on those other ones. But then turns out those places are all now getting worse and flooding more, and so I don't know the details on it. I want to find out. I do kind of want to save it though because it kind of seems like a big portion of the conversation because at least what was told to me is that there is a theory that cloud seeding is what is causing these floods because people are, whoever the bad people are out there doing this in order to make it flood, and they are something. So we're gonna see what that's all about. Cloud seeding and chemtrails and stuff are kind of similar, so we're going to talk about them all together, I bet. PITB tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. That's going to be the 17th. Cool. We'll have our last number spin. All right, cool. I think I got everybody on. Oh, you know what? I don't think I've got you, Kayla. Let me get you on the wheel. You got about 20 minutes for anybody that didn't comment on locals because you'll get another spot on the wheel. Oh, yeah, I didn't put Jonny on the wheel yet either. He was on screen and on Rumble. There we go. You know what? We've had quite a few. Rick, you're right. I know, man. We're going to look into that for sure. Um, your brain receptors, Kelly, for sure. So listen, I see 9 people still on Facebook. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this because we've had a hell of a an audience today. Let me get my camera back here. I'm going to go to Facebook and I'm going to get all the people that hit the like button on the Facebook live stream. I'm going to put you on the door prize today, too. So, listen, I really do appreciate those who are able to come find us over on. Oh, I see Twisted. I'll check it in a second here. Oh, my bad, man. I missed it. What before he was gone? Let me see. Oh yeah, we talked about it. Okay, cool. Not it wasn't his post, but we did talk about it. The Congress slipping a federal pesticide liability shield into spending bill. Yeah, we definitely hit it. Locals, Rick. It's not a dating site. It's like my local people on the internet. My circle of people, whether you're in, you know, the UK or the US, all over the world, but yet in my community, which would be like that's what locals is. It's its own website. It's a different site. It's free to join, free to sign up, free to join my community. It's called theindoorfarmer.locals.com, and you can also pay to be a supporting member, and you get in on other giveaways and things like that, and also game night and such, and some exclusive content as well, of course. Hey, sassy chick, let me get you on the wheel here. Yeah, I will get I'll get everybody from Facebook today because we've had such a good audience. Let's do this. Yeah, locals. Rumble is the other website that I promote, and it is more of a replacement to YouTube, and it's a lot more open to freedom of speech and things like cannabis and a lot less censorious on all sorts of other things. If you like to find out information, and there's more healthy debates over there versus YouTube and such. All right, let's see who we got. I guess I'll hit the refresh button one time just in case anybody missed it. There it is. Ooh, Kim hit the like button. She might hit the double win. It's happened already this week. Chris, I don't know. Chris, are you still here? Man, Chris has manifested a win a couple times now. I feel like his head's got to be hurting. Good luck, everybody, and you do have to be here to win. Hey, Sean, what's up, man? Yeah, please consider coming and finding Rumble and Locals. They're two separate websites, but Rumble does own Locals, so there is that. Said he woke up with pink eye. Oh, that's right. I didn't read the whole comment, but I saw some of it. Something about his dog, and that's no joke. I honestly, I need to be more careful too because I have this little piggy here, and he sleeps with me. And you know what? He does like to pop up there, and like suddenly he's over by my face and shit. So it's not good. Got to be careful. I should be more careful too now that Chris has given me the warning that I needed. Um, Thanks, Chris. Must be the manifesting. Yeah, I gave him pink eye. Like he pushed too many blood vessels out his eye or something. Hey, Joe Orzel, you did win the number wheel this week. Just in case I didn't tell you that already. Brenda is here. Congratulations. Brenda is our current game night champion. So if you want to challenge her next week for the title and for additional spots on the quarterly giveaway, you'll have to do that on Sundays. This weekend will be round 3 of the Indoor Farmers Almanac. I can't wait to play. It's actually been pretty fun working on that. It's kind of a Jeopardy style game. All right, Brenda, let me get your. Where's my notebook? There it is. Oh yeah. By the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you're on a computer watching Rumble from a computer, you can reply to people's comments and you can tag people in the comments on. Is you you're not tagging people who aren't there. If I'm making sense here, you can only tag the people who are inside the comments. But then if you tag them, you can like talk to them easier. If that makes sense. For in the future when there when and if there are enough tagger or commenters that you need that little knowledge. Okay, Kim Marston. Let's see, Kim, where are you at? Oh, I think you're on the old sheet. I'll have to bring you over. Kim has 7, now has 8. Kim has 8 coupons. Got to stop dropping your toy. We're not playing that pickup game. My little baby boy. He didn't want to eat this morning. Neither one of my dogs wanted to eat that much this morning. I've given them raw beef. I've given my husky raw beef many times. Given him raw beef too, and it's almost like they don't want anything else. And I've seen studies where dogs thrive. They're the best diet you could give a dog is raw beef. I want to say raw meat, but not all raw meat. Obviously, raw beef and raw, like maybe a cooked chicken. But like they'd rather have raw beef than cooked chicken. I'll tell you that much. A lot of dogs actually have allergies to chicken. I didn't know that until I did that review over at Doodlekins Barkery. Shouts out to Doodlekins. All right, Brenda. You have 17 coupons. Now you have 18. 18 coupons, Brenda. Holy coupon. No one can beat Margaret with her. Oh, camera died on me, I guess. What in the, you try to do something in this world and then your camera dies on you. You know what I mean? It's like what can I do? What can the guy do around here? Yeah, you got 18 of them now. Nobody can touch Margaret with her 33 coupons. 33. Like if she was just to be able to trade it in for monetary value, how much would that be? Holy cow. That would be, let's see, be 165. $165, which you can't do that. I'm sorry, but you can trade it in for $165 worth of things, merch, or gift cards to sponsors. You could, if you wanted to, you could get a $165 gift card to a sponsor if you wanted to, Margaret. That'd be insane, wouldn't it? Wow. Speaking of sponsors, shouts out to our newest sponsors. We got James was in the house from the Growers Underground Only Genetics, and also our friends over at 420 for old timers with their flying sprees. It's going to have like one every episode. So crunchy. I wonder if I can find this. Note to self: don't talk while you have crunchy spree in your throat, sticking in the sides. All right, I got something real quick I want to show you guys. I found. Okay, so this video, he must have music. I don't know.
Safety.
5.2.
He's a carnivore.
Universities
Jeez.
they think should make a lot of humans nervous. This rat
Studies
is
in the
perfectly healthy.
universities.
Put him in a vat of water and he finds his way to safety every time.
You guys hear the video?
5.2.
Somebody throw
Now,
me a
look at
thumbs
this
up
guy.
or something.
What he's been eating is the equivalent of a North American diet, complete with all the fats and sugars we regularly consume. He doesn't know where to go. His brain has been damaged.
They don't remember their learning after even a day. And as the challenge gets harder and harder, they fail more and
Barely
more,
hear it.
just like a human with Alzheimer's disease.
36.2.
In this lab, the belief now is that Alzheimer's is really diabetes of the brain, linked to insulin levels, which can be affected by too much sugar.
It was you, okay. So basically, they've done these lab tests and studies and whatnot that are showing a correlation between sugar and Alzheimer's, and also connection to diabetes. Meaning, they think, at least in this lab, again, that diabetes of the brain is basically Alzheimer's. So interesting, and also maybe more of a reason to take sugar cleanses. No need to have sugar all the time. And I honestly, I do eat sugar every day, and I consciously think about it now. It's like, oh, that glass of sweet tea I might have with my meal later. Oh, that's going to be sugar, or sugar in the meal. There's so many meals that you think it's not dessert. You're having your dinner, but there's sugar there. There's sugar in it. And it's sugar, man. Sugar really freaks me out. I think we should have a whole people in the boxes episode on sugar. What do you guys think? Oh, that's literally I wrote that down. Never mind. I already wrote that down. We're gonna do that sometime. It's type 2. It sucks. Sugar and carbs are hard to stop and not find in food. Yeah, that's the problem, man. Or a carnivore diet is really like I did it for 3 weeks, not very long, but I think doing that as a cleanse once a year or something like that, it could be a good trend to kind of do like a, you know how some people do like the 1 month where they don't drink or something, or no shave November or whatever it is, prostate October or something like that. But there's different months where you might say you might do something like, or take Lent for example, with Catholic Lent. You say I'm going to abstain from X or Y, uh, this for this time, and it's like maybe we should all have a cleansing month where I'll tell you one of the hardest things, and I have this written down as a possible topic too, is fasting. What's so hard for me? I fast every day, but I just cannot seem to fast for 24 to 32 to like 72 hours. Like a 3-day fast is what is really what I would like to do, but I just can't seem to do it. Like I might fast today. I mean, well, technically I've already broke my fast with the flying high spree, but I'm not eating anymore. But secondly, like if I didn't have that and I just drank water, I could probably go till 4, 5, 6 o'clock even at night if I don't have my son, which I kind of makes me want feel like I need to make a meal for him. Although he doesn't necessarily say, "Hey, I'm hungry," so I kind of just have to guess and sort of make him eat, which is not great. Not a great situation there, but at the same time, like I could go much longer till later on at night, and then I could eat. Maybe I wouldn't pig out, but I'd get my full. But then it'd be close to bedtime, and then you're not supposed to eat that close to bedtime. There's so many problems. I don't think I could go. I mean, I could. Everybody could go 24 hours. Um, I think I have. I have by accident, not unintentionally at least. But 30, but not 36, but 72 hours would be great if I could just water diet. Some people do this fruit juice diet where the only thing you do is drink fruit juice for so many I don't know how many days or hours. That one eludes me. But the carnivore diet though is something that I think is worth a try again. You eat so much less, you're not hungry throughout the day. You just go, okay, I'm gonna have this steak, and you look at the steak, and like every piece of it looks is just delicious. The fat parts that you might have, like, okay, we all have fat parts we might like the softer part, maybe not, maybe if you're not like a meat eater, but if you're somebody who eats like a ribeye, you like that part that's the nice soft, juicy fat. But there's parts where you might have skipped before, you might have like cut that part out. When you're on the carnivore diet, man, it's not because you're starving, but there's something about it, something that just grips you and turns you into this, like more you get put more into the carnivore side of your brain, and you're able to you eat that steak, and you love every piece of it, even the chewy, like, the gristle part. You're just, it's so good. It's so good. That's the one thing I remember about it. Well, I remember a few things. When I woke up, energy level was through the roof. Like, oh, I'm awake. It's morning time. It's time to be awake. And it's just like that's how I remember, just so full of energy. And then I also remember not not really thinking about my next meal very often. Like you're not spending your time wasting part of your day going, oh, what am I going to do next? Oh, what could cook this? Well, and like it's because you're craving all these carbs and you're thinking about them. Anyway, I know I got off on that subject because Dr. Sean Baker, he's a big carnivore guy, and I think do like a month of carnivore every year or something like that would be really cool. Like if I could do that, try to like schedule it out, a certain month when my sleep schedule wasn't so messed up. I would try not to eat after 8 p.m. Yeah, that's a big thing. And I end up like I'll be having a snack at like 8 o'clock, and I'm trying to go to bed at 9. Phone's on 12. All right, thanks for hanging out, Crystal. You love the fruit too much? Yeah, that's a lot of sugar, right? A lot of sugar in the fruit juices. But it might be it's a different sugar, I guess. Maybe it matters. Sugar coma, not food. Yeah, it's true. I got up and ate a handful of blueberries, cherries, and peach, a chunk of broccoli. LOL. Okay, uncooked broccoli. They say there's a big sort of contention in the world of raw versus cooked vegetables. People say raw vegetables have less nutrients or less available nutrients. But then there's other people that eat the raw vegetables and have like a whole raw vegetable diet or something. It's interesting to have that divide in the vegetable industry or in vegetable, I guess, world. I don't know, community. I guess community. One of the questions on Sunday for the Indoor Farmers Almanac was, "What is the this style of eating? I can't remember how I described it, but this type of eating is responsible for the most death of wildlife." And the answer is veganism and vegetarianism because they have to clear more land every year to grow more vegetables, and it kills a lot of living creatures. Anyway, rambling, but that was a fun question. It was almost like a trick question. I got him on that one. All you drink is water, then dinner, a piece of some sort of meat in the air fryer, and a salad. It's like every day, Diane, like same thing. Like I don't know. Humans are we're so much about variety, aren't we? Like I really enjoy having different foods, a different variety of meals. So even if I was on carnivore diet, I'd be going, okay, tonight's fish. All right, tomorrow's going to be beef. Then I'm going to do like a soup with like just bone broth and I don't know, some meat soup. You could do chicken soup with no pasta, no noodles. Be interesting. I like some veggies that are like herbs and spices. Like I like some onions and some basil stuff that like adds flavor to the food. Things like lettuce is like pointless. Like what's that for? Um, I don't know. I feel like I could do carnivore, but not forever. I like too many other foods. I don't want to be. I feel like it's just a cop out though, because secretly I just want more sugar. Right? We all just want more sugar, more sugar. But really, you go. I like a variety of foods, and in the back of your head, like yeah, I like ice cream and cake and pie and cookies, and it's just like the little angel on one side and the devil on the other side, and it's like, hey, come on, we like a variety, don't we? We like chocolate and vanilla. Okay, you eat beans a lot, also. Okay, beans are good for some protein, but it's not the same kind of protein. I want to put that to rest for sure. A lot of people think that if you are vegan or you are vegetarian, you can get enough protein, but the issue is it's different protein. It's not the same protein that you're getting when you eat a steak. You know, Salads have tons of different veggies. Yep, that's a good call. I think salads should have variety, not just like a bowl of lettuce with like, oh, this isn't a reason for me to put cheese and ranch in a bowl. Oh, the lettuce is the salad, right? shredded cheese. We find out that's not good for us. Hell, we find out all cheese has this GMO Recatin or whatever it was. Jeez. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up, guys. We'll probably head over to locals for a little bit and have a little after sesh. Thanks again for Jonny to come on and be the co-host on a Wednesday. And anybody out there that wants to be a co-host on a Wednesday, I'm always looking for, like an honorary co-host spot for anybody that wants to come up and talk health and have anything to talk about as far as what they got growing on, all those kind of things. So hit me up in the DMs, either on X or on Facebook or wherever. Hit me in the email if you have to. But we'll see you later. We'll be over on locals in just a minute. Remember, guys, it's all fun and games, but every person that you ever meet has to eat to survive. So see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Central Time. If you don't come find us on locals right now for the after show, we'll see you there. Love you. Bye.
Yeah, this is for my green thumbs in the game. Wailing the indoor farmer. Check my name. Sustainability, we about to reclaim. This is how we do it, keep it in the frame. I'm wailing the farmer, the indoor king. Living off the grid, what the city can't bring. Got my hydro set up, my LED lights. Growing all my greens, all through the night. Self-sustain, that's the mission. Growing my own, I'm not missing. Indoor farming, the hustle's real. Waylon's here, and he's